In the early 1940s, Madison Avenue in New York City was the pinnacle of elegance and high society. Amidst the boutiques and galleries sat a shop that felt like a sanctuary of innocence, Velvalee Dickinson dolls and antiques. It was a place of lace, porcelain, and nostalgia. The owner, Velvalee Dickinson, was a woman of impeccable taste, charming, well-spoken, and a darling of the New York elite. She was a world-renowned expert on rare dolls, a woman who could tell you the history of a French bisque head or a Japanese kokeshi with a single glance. To her clients, she was a guardian of childhood memories. To the FBI, she would become one of the most dangerous domestic threats of World War II. The world changed on December 7, 1941. As the smoke rose over Pearl Harbor, the United States was thrust into a brutal conflict with Imperial Japan. The nation was on high alert, watching the skies and the coastlines for signs of invasion. But while the military looked for planes and submarines, a different kind of war was being waged through the United States Postal Service. It began with a series of intercepted letters destined for a woman in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The letters were strange, filled with overly detailed, almost obsessive descriptions of antique dolls. At first, censors thought they were simply the ramblings of eccentric collectors. But as the letters accumulated, a pattern began to emerge. The FBI's cryptographers began to look closer at the doll talk. One letter mentioned a wonderful doll hospital and 3 old English dolls that were being repaired. Another spoke of a broken head on a specific ceramic figure. Velvalee Dickinson wasn't just selling antiques. She was using the language of play to report on the strength and readiness of the American fleet. Each letter was a targeted update for Japanese intelligence, routed through neutral South America. What drove a woman like Velvalee to betray her country? Her journey began years earlier, in the 1930s, when she and her husband lived on the West Coast. There, they had deeply integrated into the Japanese-American community. Making powerful friends among Japanese diplomats and businessmen, they were members of the Japan Society. When the war began, the Dickinsons didn't see an enemy, they saw an opportunity to maintain their crumbling lavish lifestyle. The investigation into the doll lady was a masterclass in forensic persistence. The FBI tracked the typewriters used in the letters and followed the money, discovering thousands of dollars in traceable bills hidden in her home. In 1944, Velvalee Dickinson was brought to justice. The doll lady was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Her story remains a haunting reminder of how easily the masks of normalcy can be worn. She was the charming woman behind the counter, smiling as she wrapped a toy, while preparing the next report for the enemy. In the quiet aisles of her shop, the dolls watched everything, their glass eyes reflecting a truth that no one wanted to believe.